Well, she's had trouble with her kind of estranged husband.
He started becoming more aggressive. His whole behavior changed, his whole demeanor.
That is the only gun that I've ever talked about with you. That's the only gun.
Mark my words, I will not leave here alive today because they are going to kill me.
On December 26th, 2017, 29-year-old Ashley Wilson's mother and stepfather went to check on her house in Palm Coast, Florida. Ashley was in Tennessee with her 2 young children, finishing up the holidays, trying to get a break from the chaos in her life. Her husband, 33-year-old Michael Scott Wilson, hadn't been living at the house for weeks. Their marriage was unraveling. But that morning, he sent a text. "Use the front door when you get back. Just don't let the kids touch it." That was enough to concern Ashley, and she didn't feel safe going to her house alone, so she asked her parents to stop by first. What they saw was subtle, but deeply wrong. They knew something was wrong, but they wouldn't know what they'd just uncovered until the deputies from Flagler County got there. The parents explained what was going on to the officers, not knowing the real gravity of the situation.
So we just tried to open the door, and the bottom lock, see how you can see it looks like it's been burnt around it, the bottom knob? See how it looks like it's... Well, you can't even turn the key in it. Okay. So I opened put the key in the deadbolt lock, and that turned, and I pushed the door up, and there's something behind it. So I don't want to...
Let me go check the back.
She's had trouble with her kind of estranged husband. And we talked to Officer Jacobs.
So they're not divorced?
No, but
okay.
He left about he left about a month ago.
Okay.
This is a really twisted story.
This would later prove to be an understatement.
I don't know how he'd know, but she just put those, those little cameras up that you can see on your iPhone. She had those up, and then said that he found the gun, which I had given her my gun just to keep in the house in case something happened. So, and he said, "Watch out, the door's wired or fixed," or what did he say?
They'd be trapped.
Okay.
And in the back. When you go
Okay.
back
So
there,
just so we're clear, and we're on the same page here. So they are not divorced.
No.
Okay. So he still has rights to the property.
But yeah.
There's no such thing as legal
Oh,
separation.
no.
And any
I
of that.
understand all that.
Yeah, and there's no injunctions in place, no protection orders in place.
What does she have for the baby?
While it might sound like the officer is prying here, he's not. If Michael did something in his own home, it would legally be his business. But things were about to take an even stranger turn.
I don't know.
Who's that?
I'm assuming her.
Who lives here?
Their daughter.
Okay, so you're not even a homeowner here.
I actually was on the lease and have paid the deposit.
Who lives here?
Her daughter. We're here checking on the house.
Your daughter and her soon-to-be ex-husband.
He hasn't been here for a month.
Soon-to-be ex-husband.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Give us just a few minutes, okay?
You still have rights to the house?
Yes.
Okay.
You should.
Okay. I'm just gonna take a look around back to see if I see anything today. Okay?
Since no one who actually lives there was present, the cops decided to try to see if they could spot anything suspicious from the windows and the back door.
Can you see
No, it's
into the house?
No, it's got a curtain. It's black and
Great.
The cops didn't know it at the time, but they were staring right at a key piece of evidence, and they walked right past it.
Talking to Charlie 210 to do with traffic.
I didn't get that far.
see where the daughter is and why the daughter's not here.
Every window's got blackout curtains.
With no clear view into the house, they needed to get inside. But to do that, they needed Ashley's permission.
You have like blackout curtains, so it's not like we can even see through the house. We tried to look through the back sliding door, but it's got the curtains on there, so we can't see through it. But I just wanted to make sure because, I don't know who this gentleman is to you, but he says he's on the lease, but that's fine. But, a landlord, no matter who it is, does not just have permission to go into the house at any point. If you're the resident here, I need to make sure that it's okay for you that we enter the house, you know what I mean? I just wanted to make sure with you, and we'll just go ahead and make sure that everything is safe for you.
Suspicious about Michael's intentions, they decided to check the door, with the officer having no idea the danger he was putting his life into.
mule kicking you.
Okay. There's something.
Whoa. Ooh.
What's that?
I don't know, but it popped.
The what?
Something popped.
It's a chair.
No, something actually popped.
Ten four. There's something up there.
That's the baby's.
There's something on that table.
Yeah, chair. This is where I wish I had my scope camera.
Something did pop. That was,
Yeah, but I heard the key.
You know?
it was like a.
No, he rigged up the there's electrical cords rigged up. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
there's something on this table right here. You see, it's like a battery.
That is that's a
That's a power source.
it's an inverter. It's either an inverter. Huh. All right. Stand by.
Yeah, there's definitely.
As long as I got permission to go in, I'm.
Do it. It's all you.
Yeah, there's a wire.
Look at that.
The front door's lock and handle had been tampered with in a way that suggested careful planning, not random vandalism. The upper deadbolt and lower handle were both wrapped in copper wiring. The wiring was looped tightly to ensure firm electrical contact and connected to an automotive battery charger plugged into a wall outlet nearby. When someone inserted a key into the top lock and grabbed the bottom handle to turn it, they would close the circuit. The electrical current would travel from one hand across the chest and through the heart, then exit the other hand. The setup delivered approximately 120 volts at 1 amp, enough to create an 80 to 100% chance of death or severe bodily harm. Worse, the shock would likely cause the victim to involuntarily grip the door handle longer, increasing the risk of fatality. If Ashley was the one to open the door, she might have lost her life, along with her unborn child. But things were about to get even weirder. Inside, the house told the rest of the story, but it didn't make things any clearer. A baby chair was shoved up against the front door, as if to block any chance of pushing it open. A salt rock lamp was found dismantled, its wiring repurposed for the trap. Notes were scrawled across the sliding glass door in lipstick, including the word "hi" under a drawing of 2 eyes. Random phrases in marker read, "God is watching," and "Don't look back." On the counter, Wilson had arranged printed sonogram photos of Ashley's unborn child. On the bed, deputies found sticky notes written like love letters and a photo album open to a picture of the couple together. But then came the most concerning finding of it all. A firearm was missing from his locked bedroom closet, a charge that would be added to the case. Nothing else in the home had been taken, but everything about it felt staged and deliberate. This wasn't a makeshift experiment. This was engineered. And the man who set it all up? Already across state lines. No one knew where he was, so they turned to the one person who might be able to bring in more information on why he would do something like this: Ashley. They had no idea the horrifying things she was going to reveal. Up until this point, it seemed like everyone was just pointing fingers at Michael because of a text he sent, but Ashley was able to reveal what really happened before the shocking door. Michael wanted to reconcile and figure things out, but before that could happen, the incident occurred.
We had an event in October, and he kind of fell out on the floor. It was almost like a seizure or a stroke, almost like a TIA. Mm-hmm. And he refused to go to the emergency room that night. And after that event, it was night and day. He started becoming more aggressive. His whole behavior changed, his whole demeanor. Where before he was very patient with Harper, very, patient with me. He would get irritated easier. He would fall off the handle. He wouldn't come home from work when he normally would. He'd stay out later. It was just a complete night and day.
As time went on, however, his situation took a disturbing turn.
He went and saw his primary for the follow-up, and his primary diagnosed him as paranoid schizophrenic
Mm-hmm.
with ADD and high blood pressure. And when he got that diagnosis, it was completely different. He called me and he said, "There's no way this is right. This is quack doctor. You've set me up."
Right before all of this happened, Ashley was leading the perfect, happy life, ready to welcome the new baby in the family.
Before this, barring the last 2 months, he was perfect. Great dad, great husband, great provider, very passive, just a sweet guy.
But after the switch in his head flipped, he believed that all of it was a lie. Ashley wasn't the woman he thought she was. And even worse, he believed the baby wasn't his either.
You know what I mean?
But you got a child and one more on the way, right?
Well, the second one is in question. But as far as the paternity.
Really?
I'm not myself questioning it, but her and her mother were on a 5-day cruise at the same time that the baby would have been conceived.
He believed the baby's real father was Ashley's stepfather. In reality, this was the one man who'd helped them when they were having a hard time. Ashley had been working for him since Michael's diagnosis, but he used to work for him before that. What's even worse is that he didn't just skip town. He also stole from her stepfather's workplace before he left.
Can I do anything on my other stuff that he's taken?
What stuff do you take?
My iPhone, my iPad, and a laptop. These were work items. I told him, Michael, if you come back, that's fine. But if you don't, those are my things. And he never came back, so I formally terminated him through my payroll company. And once he's terminated, and I still hasn't returned my stuff.
But his paranoia went even further. Michael found out that Ashley's family had taken out a life insurance policy in his name and thought they were actively trying to hurt him.
The last week or so prior to this, he had begun saying I was trying to poison him. My stepdad was trying to kidnap him. People were out to get him. People were watching the house. He'd become very paranoid. So when he got this diagnosis, he was adamant about wanting to get a second opinion. I said, well, there's no neurologist that's going to see you today. I said, you can go to the emergency room. And so my stepdad and mom called him and said, because I was sick with pneumonia at the time with the baby, and they said they would go with him to the emergency room in Halifax. And he said, okay. So he went and met them at the emergency room, and I guess during that process, he became very irritable, said that he had been kidnapped and drugged there against his will. And when my stepdad and mom left, because they had drove him there, he'd met him at the shop before, he said, just call me when they discharge you and I'll come and get you. He never called. He just left the hospital and started walking, and then I think got an Uber. He went to the shop, which is where his truck was, and sat there.
I would love to see Harper. I would love to see the kids. But unfortunately, I fear for my life because Jay said the life insurance policy was canceled, and it is not. Everything I have is on recording. Everything I have is on video. So tip me. I am going to the law. It's gotten ugly. I'm sorry, Ashley. I think we could have worked this out, but I don't see us working this out with your family sticking their nose in the middle of it. ATF is after Jay, and I tell you what, it's not looking good for anybody down there, and especially with stuff like this. Only thing I can do is use my rights and show them all of the evidence.
There were also hidden cameras found in the bathrooms and other parts of the house. He wanted to keep an eye on them without them knowing, but they weren't quite hidden well enough. The entire family was concerned about him. They just wanted him to be safe. They couldn't have even guessed how dangerous he really was until the day it all came to light with the booby trap door. With all of that out there, the police needed to track Michael down, not only to get the truth out of him, but to keep him from potentially hurting someone else. Fortunately for the police, Michael forgot he was carrying a stolen laptop, a company phone, and his entire search history. They had Ashley call him and try to get information about his involvement or whereabouts, and he got them close.
I've got security cameras in there. I mean, and they record even when they're even not plugged in or anything. So I mean, if somebody was in the house, I mean, I'm gonna know. I want to hear it from you if there's some. What?
No, I am not. I don't know if anybody's been in there. I didn't look at the security cameras. I just seen that you had the app for them.
Okay, well then there's nothing for me to be worried about. I mean, I just. The bottom line is, I don't want to walk in here if something's gonna hurt me or Harper, and I don't want to see your face on a security camera after you told me that that wasn't the way it was. I just want some honesty.
You're not gonna see my face anywhere because my ass ain't left Ohio or Tennessee. I have not went any further south than West Knoxville. West Knoxville is the furthest I've been, the closest I've been to damn Florida, and that's as close as I'm gonna come until that insurance policy and these protection orders are put in place. So. Have a good day, and I'll talk to you when I decide to call you back when I'm finished with my business.
Police pinged his cell phone to a location in Knoxville, Tennessee, 3 states away, just sitting in a parking lot outside a local resource center. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't running. He was just there, like he hadn't nearly murdered someone days earlier. When Knoxville police moved in, they found him with a bag of meth hidden in his shoe, plus the stolen electronics and ammunition. The only thing he didn't have? A believable story. And when they got him in the chair, that's when the unraveling really began. He was acting like he was the victim in all of this, but the police eventually got him to calm down and take things back to October, when he had the health scare 3 months before the electrocution attempt.
So when did you go out of the house? Before Christmas?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was I can't remember the exact date. See, they say I suffered from a miniature stroke, a TIA, whatever that
That's
is.
what he told me that Sergeant Miller did. He said that was that back in October? Or
yeah,
something?
that's when my mind's got a little fuzzy, but it's coming back to me.
Well, here's what it sounds to me like. It sounds to me like you had some domestic issues, probably put a lot of pressure on you, right? No?
What do you mean domestic
Well, I
issues?
mean, is that when you had the stroke, is that were you
No, I was
fighting with
really
her or
stressed with my
anything?
job, and I was told that if my wife was pregnant, that I would be fired.
Why would that be?
I haven't figured it out. Okay, you have to understand.
So is she pregnant?
Yes.
How far along?
She just had her first trimester. She's at the end of her first trimester.
So it's
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
4 months. Okay.
She's pushing 20 weeks, something like
Okay.
that. Okay. I don't even know where to start, man.
Well, let me ask you this. Obviously, he told me you had like a seizure. And then they, in the process of checking you out, they realized you had some other issues, stress related. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Does that sound fair? Okay.
All right. I come home from work. And,
Now we back in October?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my incident. I come home from work and just been stressed out, whatever. Well, we had ordered Domino's. Got in the shower, got out, and was sitting there sending out some emails for work. And then I just remember this weird feeling come over me. But I had taken some medicine. I take herbal stuff and natural stuff. I have anxiety.
Okay.
So I'm prescribed.
So it's something.
I'm prescribed.
That's
stuff.
something that you've had for a
this
while.
but this is something that I got at the health food store.
Okay, just natural stuff.
Yeah, it was all natural. But that was not the cause of it.
Okay.
I don't know. I really don't know. That's speculation at this point. But anyway, I just started to feel real weird, and I just remember squeaking out the words to my wife, who was sitting on the couch. And it's just her and my daughter there.
Now, when you say, you also have another child besides the one on its way?
Yeah.
Okay. How old?
She's got she'll be 2 in July 7th.
What's her name?
Harper June.
Now, is she the two of you's child or your child?
No,
okay.
she's ours.
Okay. Harper June, and she'll be 2 in July.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's there in the living rooms where you're at with the wife?
It's an open area with an open bar right here, and I'm in the kitchen facing the TV kind of. She's sitting on the couch facing the TV. All I remember was just, I felt like I got hit by lightning. I got real dizzy.
Okay.
And it was like I was being shocked for like 10 seconds. My knees gave out, and I remember trying to catch myself, but I ripped the towel rack down and hit the ground. And I literally, I was a goner. I thought for sure I was gone. I was dead.
Right. Sure. Sure.
I remember telling God, hey, this is it.
So they put you in the hospital over that? I mean,
No, she wouldn't call an ambulance. I asked her, I said, Ashley, call an ambulance. No, you're fine. She said that since I've married her, she said she's an RN, that she graduated from the UT, from University of Tennessee.
Ashley did? Okay. Is she?
No, she did. I just found out that she did.
She have any medical training at all?
Not that I'm aware of. I did look up what I could online, and she had a CNA from 2010 to 2014.
Okay. So
Which
she
is
was
just
actually
a nursing assistant, an aid.
Yeah.
Nobody to make the call on to whether or not call an ambulance when
So
somebody's...
what ended up happening to you? Did you end up getting medical treatment, or what happened?
No, I tried and she said, get up and go to bed. You're not going to lay in here on the kitchen floor, because like my extremities got cold, and I tingled and I shook violently. I mean, it was bad. I never lost consciousness.
Sounds like a seizure.
But I didn't lose consciousness.
Okay.
She told me that I had to try to walk. She said, you need to try to walk, which is the most absurd shit I've ever heard of. Why would somebody who just fell down and had something wrong try to walk? She tells me to go ahead and go lay down in the bed, and I start crawling in there, and she's dog cussing me, telling me I gotta walk. Well, I crawled right in the bed.
Ashley had told the police that Michael refused treatment, but here he was, telling them she didn't think he needed to go. This would be the first of many inconsistencies the detectives would have to deal with, but it would all come together at the end, or so he thought. When he first began talking about the events leading up to his arrest, he denied everything he possibly could. Even though he knew the stolen items were in his car, he claimed they wouldn't find any of it there, and if they did, it was all planted on him.
But anyway, I don't even care. I'm not worried about it. If you found it, put it this way, if you found whatever they said that I took or stole in the car, then she put it there over this weekend.
Okay. So you were down there were you down there this weekend?
No.
In Florida?
No.
You weren't in Florida?
No. I've been in Ohio, and I've been in Tennessee since I left.
Not just that, he tried to make Ashley's family look as suspicious as he possibly could.
All right, I go up and I walk into the office, and there's her and Cheryl Gailey. She's the insurance lady. They decided they're taking out life insurance on me. They're pushing for $250,000. But keep in mind, I'm just basically a bystander at this meeting about my health insurance. I was never asked any prior health problems, questions, or anything. Turns out Cheryl is a friend of the family.
So Cheryl's there just to write the policy?
Right.
Okay. All right. Did you get upset about that?
Yeah, well, I just kept to myself because, I mean, I just thought it was weird.
Yeah.
How you gonna sit and tell me that I don't have any health problems? I just had a TIA. You know what
So
I mean?
they're writing the policy like you don't. So
Yeah, I've never smoked a cigarette. I'm on antibiotics. At that point in time, I have antibiotics on my desk. Not to mention the slew of other medications that I take.
Okay. So what goes on from there? Obviously.
From there, they write up the policy and blah, blah, blah. I never signed a single thing, not a single document signed. Well, they push it through. The policy was supposed to start at the beginning of the December or the month after. Okay? Not November, but December.
December,
It's
okay.
supposed to start December 1st. They pushed it through, and it started the very next day. And they lied on the paperwork. When I got the policy, they said that I was a new hire, that I had only worked there for 60 days. 60 or 90, whichever. Either way, it's a lie.
Okay. So it went effect in October when this went through.
It went in effect. I can't remember the exact days, but if you get a hold of the policy, everything's in my car that I need to get to the...
All right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have any reason not to believe you on that. That's fine. That makes sense. So they pushed it through and...
That was fishy to me. Okay. The very same day after I leave that meeting, now knowing that I have life insurance on me and a target out on my back, I just begin to wonder. And I just think it's strange that my family, rather than to try to get me seen and help, you know, that they just take out life insurance policy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, let's just cover our financial assets instead of worrying about somebody's health. So it's fishy, and that's when I began to talk to my father and tell him that, hey, Dad, you know, what do you think about this? And he's like, it's not bad. He's like, just change I was going to change the policy. So I called her the very same day. This was about 3 or 4 o'clock.
Now, who's paying for the policy? The company?
Not me. I don't
So-
know. It never came out of my check,
Okay.
and it was supposed to.
Okay.
So it was supposed to be my insurance
Your
policy,
insurance
right?
policy.
And after I told my father and stuff, I said, "Yeah, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call her right now. I'm gonna make you the beneficiary because I can't go to a lawyer right now and draw it up for my daughter to get the money when she turns 18."
And would your dad, he agreed with that?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. He says there's something really weird going on.
Sure.
That's crazy. He says you need to get to the hospital. You need to go.
He was showing signs of paranoia through his conversation, but the detective needed to see if Michael could be tied to the crime, so they took it all back to the week in December.
All right. Well, let's talk about December. Move me forward a little bit because I really need to get into kind of what they're telling me are some issues here. And my understanding now, have you ever made threats towards your wife?
Never in my entire life. I loved her. I thought.
But yet, when all this is kind of going bad, and
I just kept quiet and just kind of tried to stay out of the way, stay in the background. Like I said, I started locking the doors when I take a shower. I was afraid that she's going to chuck a toaster or something in there with the shower with me.
When did you actually get out of the house? Then, how long ago was that?
I didn't get out of the house.
Or loud? When you?
I had another appointment, and see, there was things that brought this on. I kept telling my wife, I don't feel comfortable with this thing. I don't feel comfortable. And when I asked to change the beneficiary that very same day, by the time I got home about 6 or 7 o'clock at night, my wife already knew that I had tried to change the beneficiary.
Right.
Without even meeting with the lady, because she says, I think we should meet up in person and have lunch. And let's talk about it before you decide to change or cancel your
So
policy.
obviously the lady called your mother-in-law who told your wife. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is a big violation of privacy.
Sure.
That's fishy as hell to me. And then it goes to my wife's demeanor kind of changed.
When did that happen?
When she
After
found out
all
after she found out the life
And how did
insurance.
it change? Was it anti
Stone cold.
Mike?
She wouldn't. Yeah.
Or Michael, I should say.
Yeah. She wasn't. She's never really been on my team. You know what I mean?
But when he realized the police might have tracked his phone, he showed his defensive, aggressive side. He swore up and down he never went inside.
What? Here's the thing. Don't set yourself up for something bad by telling me you weren't somewhere and then they track your phones. Because everywhere your phone goes, we can find that out. We pull your records and it shows the towers that they
I did not go
hit.
to my house on that weekend.
This past weekend, you were not at your house.
I did not go to my house. I was not at my house. Now I drove past to see if there was any weird stuff going on.
Wait a minute, I thought you said you weren't in Florida. Were you in Florida?
I didn't go in my house.
Okay, but you were down in Florida.
Yeah,
That's
I drove down there. I drove down there just to see.
Well, wait, okay, now.
Okay, my landlord lives next door to me. Okay.
All right, but no, wait a minute. Be fair with me. You just said that before Christmas, you met your wife and her dad, her real biological dad. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was before Christmas, a few days before Christmas. Well, Christmas was just Monday. Okay.
I didn't celebrate Christmas.
Okay, I know.
I don't even know which day it was.
But it was Monday.
I couldn't tell you the day of the week now.
And my understanding is that you were probably down in Florida Saturday and Sunday. Does that sound right?
No. When I drove down there, I drove straight there and straight back.
Well, and when did you get back?
The very next day.
When was that?
It took 8 hours to get there, 8 hours to get back.
When was that? But today is Thursday, right?
know.
Well, today's Thursday, the 28th. Monday, yesterday was Wednesday, the day before Tuesday, and the day before that was Christmas Day, Friday the 25th, Monday the 25th.
Well, I was there for Christmas.
You were where?
I was here.
Here. You were
I was at her dad's for Christmas.
Okay.
So it would have had to been... Well, see, it messes me up because they celebrate their holidays the day before.
Christmas Eve?
And I was back for that, so...
So you think you were back for Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Which would have been Sunday night.
Okay. Then that's, I don't know. You have to
So were you in Florida?
I tell you what, check the phone records and that whatever happened, that happened. As far as that...
So you're saying the phone records will be right. That you were in Florida. So you got did you drive down there and drive back? Is that what you did?
Then he blinked and suddenly made his answers not so clear.
Been doing this a long time, and I watched you. I think you did more than drive by your house. I think you went to the house.
Okay.
And here's why I said that.
It's my house. I can do whatever I want.
Absolutely. Did you go in the house?
Maybe.
Did you do listen, sometimes we do some because we're not thinking straight. No, but sometimes we do some that we're not thinking straight.
And just in case that wasn't enough backpedaling, he made things so much worse for him.
Did you so you did go in the house?
No, I went in the garage.
You went in the garage?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even shut. It was like, it had a latch. You know how the motor?
Yeah.
You just lift it up just like that.
All right. You're a pretty smart guy. You know how these things are played, and I listen.
Look, I don't care whatever you're charged with. You're not charged with trespassing in my own house.
No, I'm not. But I'm spending some time with you because they're telling me you did more than that in your house.
Like what?
Like you pretty much set a trap for your wife.
No. What kind of trap?
I thought maybe you'd tell me and we get this above board and not make this a game.
No. I've set no traps for nobody.
He said he didn't touch the door, didn't set anything up, just a big misunderstanding. One where he almost lost his entire family.
Well, this is what I'm being told you did. Is that you set a door up to electrocute your wife.
I set a door up?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
But when they showed him the battery pack and the wiring, boom, his story changed again.
This is mine from my boat that I had. That is my charger from my boat, from my 17-foot backtracker.
So that red,
I bought this at Harbor Freight. That's mine. So that's bullshit. I mean, my fingerprints are going to be on that either way. See, that's what I'm telling you.
And then came the cherry on top.
First off, you could take that battery charger and hook it up to that door as much as you wanted. It's not going to push current through it. Do you know why? Do you know how electricity works? Okay, then clearly you know that's a hoax. There's nothing. You could sleep on that door with a wet towel around you. That wouldn't do anything. That's a trickle charger, sir. That's not a jump.
He didn't realize it at the time, but him saying that makes him look even more suspicious. If he had nothing to do with this, how would he know if the setup was powerful enough to do any damage? This man tried to out-expert the police about electricity after literally wiring a door to kill someone. That's when he threw in another piece of information the detectives didn't have.
Have you heard from her today?
Yeah, she was very apologetic.
The
other day she said something about a bomb. She said there was a bomb in her house.
She said something to you about a bomb?
A bomb in her house.
When did she say that?
Last night. I don't know if it was by the time she got there. Like I said, my times are kind of messed up and stuff.
But she told you last night that there was a bomb in her house?
Yeah. Last night while she was still on the road going, and then I called
So
Jay.
How would she have found out about that?
Hell if I know. I'm telling you, they're setting me up.
According to his statement, Ashley was already paranoid about getting hurt prior to the door being found, even though she didn't say anything like it. Up until this point, he thought the police were just saying what they were saying because of the mysterious text he'd sent Ashley. He didn't realize that there was a lot more to it.
She told me she's got camera footage. Fingerprints.
Well, and I'm sure they're doing some lab stuff.
Please.
You see the guy's got gloves on. They're doing it.
Please, fingerprints.
So you're telling me you didn't have anything to do with this?
No.
Listen, nobody...
Fingerprint. And my trickle charge was in the garage, and I didn't even take it. So it's been there all along, and damn straight it's gonna have my fingerprints on it.
He tried to play that piece of evidence off too, but there's only so much he could deny.
Which one am I being charged with?
My understanding is it's attempted.
What do you mean?
Murder.
Attempted murder? That's what's up.
It's being held actually for Florida, the sheriff down there, Sergeant Miller.
All right. Am I gonna get a call when I get booked?
Yeah, you do. You get a phone call. Yeah, absolutely.
While Michael was busy spitting stories in the interrogation room, the real evidence was sitting in his pocket and on his hard drive. Detectives secured a warrant to search his phone and laptop, and what they found, no amount of denial could talk away. Within the search history, he had Googled his crime, and the text messages weren't any better. They were full of paranoia, anger, and obsession, accusations about cheating, threats, and then the GPS data sealed it. Despite claiming he'd never been near Florida, Michael's phone showed he was right there, on December 23rd, 3 days before the trap was found. He even stopped by a tattoo shop he used to work at and tried to get a job there. It didn't work out, but if it did, it would have given him everything he needed to disappear. Not just that, but he had also changed his Facebook relationship status to widowed before Ashley ever got to the house, proving that he knew what he was doing and what would happen if the trap worked. So while he was in the interview room saying, "I didn't go in the house," the tech in his pocket was screaming the truth. He was there. He set the trap. He lied. But no one could have predicted how such a clear-cut case with proof of it all going down and a cop's life on the line would turn out. The fingerprint evidence and the rigged door, along with the incriminating search history, the skull-drawn photo, the threats, and the GPS put him at the scene. He could have received life in prison. He even got a potential plea deal for 10 years, but it all fell through. The charge was knocked down to attempted aggravated battery. He got credit for time served, and by 2020, he was already out on parole, just back in the world like none of it happened. While in jail, he made a phone call to his mother, casually dropping the location of the stolen gun. Police recovered it, but that was about the only part of this case that actually wrapped up clean. As for Ashley, she left, relocated, disappeared off the grid. She didn't feel safe because even with all the evidence and all the charges, due process decided that Michael didn't deserve to be locked away for the heinous crime.